But now, will it be the end of this year? Will it be 2023? I think it's going to be between now and sometime between the end of 2023. All these shifts and all these changes are going to happen. And along with it, what's going to be occurring is that as the systems collapse, a new system, something that benefits, that was created for the benefit of all of humanity, is already in place. Now, you have to understand, and I need you to understand this, there is only one timeline, just one. I know there's people out there talking about all these other timelines. It isn't true. There's one.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As I hate to say I told you so, but we were right. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been questioning on this channel whether or not a Black Swan style event will be on the horizon. And yesterday, we got it. You have to be living under a rock to not have heard what's been going on in the news. But the timeline remains the same. End of year 2023 is when massive financial shifts are about to occur. And yesterday was a major catalyst for the world. Let me give you all some context. BRICS is dumping U.S. treasuries. 17.4 billion in U.S. treasuries were dumped by BRICS nations, China, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia in 1 month. And new numbers from the U.S. Treasury show China's ownership of treasuries dropped from 835 billion at the start of July, down more than 30 billion at the end of the month. This is important. This is weakening the dollar. And not only that, we have from Finance a Lot that the Fed pulled another 200 billion emergency OC liquidity away from the banks this week, and 70 billion total last 3 weeks. In 2020, they froze credit markets by pulling $100 billion away from the banks over 4 weeks. And they are purposefully causing the crash just like they did in 2020 and 2008. The funniest thing people like to say is that they believe the 2020 crash was caused by a health crisis. Oh, no, my friends. The banking system was already collapsing September 2019, forcing the Fed to start repo interventions like 2008. The system only collapsed when the Fed pulled repo away. 2023 is the same game plan. And ladies and gentlemen, they always find an excuse for why. For the thing they already had predetermined. This is what I feel is going on right now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this being an escalation towards cyber attacks, more government funding, etc. Here, Finance a Lot again states the steps that usually take place. Credit downgrades, so nations dump U.S. treasuries. Remember, when the U.S. had its credit rating dropped, then they rapidly raise interest rates. Then they restrict swap lines, causing a dollar shortage. They, quote, stage an incident, have a moment, have a crisis, have an event. Then the dollar skyrockets. Panic spreads to the financial system. Nations collapse. They print trillions and buy your cheap debt. Boom. Great reset. Ladies and gentlemen, what you all need to understand is that this conflict gives the U.S. government a reason and an excuse to print more money. Russia, Ukraine. People are losing their interest in supporting that conflict. Now, people are emotionally incentivized to want to support this one. This is extremely important. The money printers are getting towards that moment in time where they need to be turned on again. They have raised interest rates to the point of no return. We are in the pause cycle at this moment in time. And remember, they're going to cut rates. That is inevitable. They need to start it again. And what all of you need to understand is they need to cut it fast. When rate cuts come, that is when a market pullback happens. And when that happens, that deflates the bubble a little bit so that the money printers can reflate it. Guys, we've been talking about this black swan coming in this specific timeline window of September, October. And especially over this next week, heading into October 14th. I think things are going to get even more volatile. Let's see what happens next. But money printers will go burr. It's an inevitability. And that is when we get wealthy. Now, guys, what you all need to understand is banks in America are able to use crypto right now, as the head of the U.S. Federal Credit Unions states the answer to the questions of using digital assets right now are a resounding yes. Banks in America are able to use crypto right now. Wait till November, and I promise you, things are going to get spicy in the crypto space. Things are going to get spicy in the financial system. And things are going to get spicy for XRP adoption.
Because I want there to be a seamless experience. I think one of the questions you're asking about what some of the questions are, many of the credit unions still want to know, do they have our imprimatur at NCUA to embrace fintech technology? Do they have our imprimatur to embrace blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and even engaging in digital assets? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. They have our imprimatur. We've not had to give a rulemaking because our statutes, our legislation and regulations, they currently now allow them to engage in those activities. But as they would with any activity, do it prudently and pragmatically. Are you going through the appropriate due diligence? We as an agency, we were one of the few agencies that really did tell our regulated entities that you are more than welcome when it came to digital assets and blockchain. We gave them supervisory guidance, telling them, look at it as they would with any third party. So we're looking at, are you doing the appropriate vetting, the vendor due diligence? Are you looking at a lot of the other things that you would do if you were really embarking upon any other relationship? And I know our peer regulators have taken a different stance where they're saying, well, we're not going to tell you can do it. You need to
ask us for permission,
right. and we will give you a letter saying we're not denying it. But that type of regulatory uncertainty and regulatory vacuum is what we're trying to prevent at the agency. So I think many of our regulated entities will say that we've been very forthright, been very forward, and I'm very proud that all three board members are so in unison and wanting to embrace the technology. I mean, I really had really great joy when I was able to get all of their support in creating the new office and moving forward with some of the other ideas with the new FinTech director position. So I think the one thing that I hope comes loudly and clearly from our conversation today is that we do not want to stand in your way, provided you're going through the appropriate due diligence as you would with any third-party vendor, as you would engage with any partnership. I think you need to measure the complexity, measure the risk as you would with any activity.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but that genuinely brings chills down my spine. And the reason it brings so much chills is because XRP has not been thoroughly used yet. You see, guys, this SEC lawsuit against Ripple was weaponized against us because of the incumbents, because Ethereum was chosen, but Ethereum failed. Remember when JP Morgan stated Ether's Shanghai update was rather disappointing, stating transactions have been falling since the update. Ladies and gentlemen, JP Morgan chose Ether a long time ago, but I bet you they're regretting it. Ether's slow and expensive. It's incomplete technology. And better solutions exist in the crypto market already. But these incumbents, they're slow to move. Banks are slow to adopt tech. That's why ETH has front run the market. But I think we're about to see a power pivot in the psychology of what these big boys are looking for. You see, we have here from Mr. Huber, there is not a single doubt about it. We have always been right, and the rats are leaving the ship, and it's not because they were just stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it started versus how it's going. Justin Bonds, someone who loves Ether, stated the merge is finally arriving on Ether, and it's important to understand the significance of this upgrade. The economic changes that will make ETH the most sound form of money. And the switch to proof of stake will make it more secure, decentralized, and environmentally friendly. Then, Ether is becoming the antithesis of the decentralization ethos, as it is pushing people to custodian and trusted layer 2 solutions, while rejecting on-chain governance in favor of a centralized and permission decision-making process. That is not what I signed up for. In just these 2 quotes, you can see the 180 in information. I have been here on this channel every day letting you know Ether is inferior tech, it's slow and expensive, it's centralized. But they lied to themselves. The Bitcoin and ETH community lied to themselves every day. And when you're constantly hitting your head against a wall of truth, you're never going to break through, and you're always going to be limited. The XRP army has always been on the side of truth. We've always had the better tech. It's always been faster and cheaper and more secure. And this is the problem. Lies can only stand for so long before the illusion has to give way to reality. And the reality is, Ether was never meant to cut it. But this is just now what they're finding out. They used to state Ether stands for economic freedom, self-sovereignty, censorship resistance, and immutability for all. Everything that Bitcoin used to stand for. People are being misled into thinking Bitcoin is the strongest in these qualities when in reality ETH now leads. But now, Justin Bonds is saying ETH governance is effectively highly centralized. Control is exerted through the software clients without any checks or balances. This is true for most chains, including Bitcoin. GitHub is a virtual dictatorship, as shadow rulers hide behind their fake meritocracy like a shield. Guys, nothing has changed except the opinions and perspective of individuals. People are beginning to learn. Reality is setting in. And when reality hits, that XRP has always been the best option. The copium and the ideologies that used to reign free in these people's minds will be unbelievable. Watch them flip when the bulls return. Watch them flip when XRP takes over. And we in the XRP community will be called lucky. Ladies and gentlemen, no one can call us lucky. We have always just been correct. We are winning the lottery in slow motion. And we will become the new 1%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.